Billy D here with another amazing pre-Cal Jam podcast sponsored by our friends over at Vox Live. Thank you, Jay Dollywall, for stepping up to the plate big time. All right, I have to admit, you got to be one of my best friends in chiropractic. I have a lot of them, but you're one of my best ones, and we're both kind of cut from the same cloth, exact same haircut, same philosophy, same love and zest for life. Dr. Patrick Gentempo, say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody out there.
Hello, everybody. Really excited to have this conversation, and right back at you, Billy. We've seen a lot together and grown up, not just in chiropractic, kind of in the same realms, but in the same era of rock and roll and everything else.
Yeah, we took a big hit last week. You and I I was really devastated by it, and I don't want to go down that road because I'm going to get all sentimental and shit. But we were watching some videos last night, man. I was just fucking floored. So
it was disastrous, and I shared with you some of the sentiments from a friend who was friends with Tom Petty, but I also knew his tour manager, and I literally was excited because I wanted, for us to go to a show together and go backstage. We would have been able to do that, but this is why people have to take care of themselves.
And that's the first thing I thought of. I go, why? If he was under chiropractic care, he'd probably still be alive today.
Yeah.
That's obviously my wishful thinking, but it's probably the truth at the same time. All right, now there's a couple things I want to address here. Number one, as we've gotten older, I have a tendency to really care less about what people have to say about us or whatever, because I mean, that's one of the only benefits about getting older. But also, we were just discussing that as we've gotten older, it seems like we're working harder and harder, and I thought it would be the opposite. And you kind of made a great point. Why don't you go over that again?
Yeah, it's really kind of interesting. I actually spoke to a pretty big audience a week ago and talked about this down in Florida. What is really interesting is that here we are. I'd say I think we can safely call ourselves veterans at this point. I'm 34 years in chiropractic.
33.
And
yeah.
And for a lot of people, it seemed like, okay, it's time to lay back a little bit, etc. And here's what's interesting. No doubt the achievements of the past have given us massive leverage to do bigger things. But it's because of the work we've done in the past that we're in a position to actually do much more on a much bigger scale at a much more accelerated pace. So, looking at that, you can't ignore the fact that we can have a more massive impact. We can leverage our past years and the relationships that we built and the work that we've done and the following that we've created,
right,
and the wisdom that we've generated. So now, in many respects, and my comment to the crowd last week is, in so many respects, I feel like I'm just getting started, because now the vision that is always there is the tools and facets are in place to turn it into a reality. And I've been talking a lot about, and what I'm going to be talking about at Cal Jam is visionary leadership and what that means. The title of the talk will be "Bring the Fire," and there's a whole story behind "Bring the Fire." But there's no doubt every chiropractor needs to be and should be a visionary leader. Having a vision that's so compelling that the masses will show up, which Cal Jam's a perfect example of that.
Yeah. And, I mean, being a leader in your own community, it's the way out, and a leader in your own practice, in your own team. I mean, and we've always done it because of just the zest for just really changing the landscape. And I just had a call with ChiroTouch, and they want to bring out the data that supports what we're doing, and I had a case yesterday. A patient came in that they were just here for a nutritional consult. His blood friggin' markers were all over the place. He was eating perfectly. I'm thinking to myself, why do people still look at chiropractic as this back pain model when we know it shifts people? I mean, we've got the technology through CLA now to show that it shifts them from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And
right.
If people would just, so that was what our discussion was about, maybe using ChiroTouch and using the data that we can capture from CLA to show people go from sympathetic to parasympathetic, and that those blood markers are going to be changed. So, yeah, being a leader is about really, in my opinion, is getting this message that we all own in chiropractic to the world. And it's not this allopathic back pain kind of perception that people have of chiropractic. It's really, I feel, just like I said with Tom Petty, I mean, he was probably stuck in sympathetic. He probably, obviously, probably smokes too much and a lot of other things. But it's just people still, to this day, which frustrates the shit out of me, really have no true perception of what chiropractic is about.
And that's because of the lack of visionary leadership, or leadership that wanted to gain acceptance. The vision of a, yeah, and if you look at the history in a quick thumbnail, you've got chiropractic, you got chiropractors who went to jail because they had a vision for chiropractic that was so robust that they could have paid a small fine and went home by pleading guilty to practicing medicine without a license. They were so anti the concept of chiropractic as the practice of medicine, as pain alleviation, etc., understanding the principles of vitalism, understanding that there's a universal force in all matter constantly giving to it its actions and properties, thereby maintaining it in existence, understanding the devastating effects of verbal subluxation on human health, and realize that they had a vision that was beyond their lifetime and that they were going to stand firm on it. It went from there, the pendulum swung. The antitrust Wilk era of chiropractic, where the AMA conspired to contain and eliminate the profession, hurt the brand known as chiropractic. And the leaders, or so-called leaders of that era, had their only vision was, can we gain acceptance? Can we get people to start to like us again? Because our brand has been hurt. So what happened is all actions were calibrated toward a limited vision of chiropractic, which was back pain. And the result is you and I are now dealing with the baggage and the leftover, and we're looking to switch that and get back to a better vision for the world. There's a lot of darkness in the world right now. There's a lot of really bad shit happening in the world. It's consuming people. It's robbing them of their life and their souls. And chiropractic has a vision of light, if you will, that we can bring to the world to give them hope. So as you talk about a vision for the world as a visionary leader, a vision for the profession, a vision for your community if you're the chiropractor, but then it comes all the way down to what is the vision you're giving the person, each patient. You have to see them healthier in their future based on what you're going to be doing. They enroll in that vision, and then the arc happens where you start to see the magic. I'm using magic, in quotes, but you start to see these incredible things happen for patients in care. Communities start to shift. And what I know about being a visionary leader is that when the vision is right and the vision is strong, and you have a leader that is optimistic, that is committed, and has good energy, that all of a sudden masses start showing up. And again, I'll use Cal Jam as the example. You had this vision, now it's 10, 11 years ago, right? So you had this vision for this experience. I wouldn't call it an event, this experience for chiropractors and other people who would align with this same vision to show up. And you look that you have thousands of people who show up for this experience every single year, and it continues to grow every single year and have reverberations around the world. That's visionary leadership. So so I'm going to dig deep into this at Cal Jam this year. It's a new talk, and it's something that I believe will strike straight into the spirit of the chiropractor, something that they can take home and will make a big difference.
Cool. Now let's shift gears. Now we were just talking before we got on the call about your experience at Burning Man, and you're trying to talk me into going. And I said, well, I like to go to places where I can at least surf or do something or snowboard. You got a big smile on your face. So tell me why Burning Man was such why are you smiling so much?
Because I just think, because when I think about this experience, it makes me smile.
And then there's nothing wrong with that, It's like we've all got kind of like these. I don't know if it's the Catholic upbringing or something that you're not supposed to enjoy life, but I mean, you and I really enjoy life every time we've been on a trip together. I just think if I went to Burning Man and with you, I don't know if I'd ever come home. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll put it this way: the person that left will never come home
Exactly.
because you'll be permanently changed.
That's kind of like what I meant. I mean, my consciousness.
And that's exactly right. I had this very interesting experience. Where when I say we, my wife and I went to Burning Man for the first time. We've been wanting to go for years, and here's the interesting thing is that. Every year there's like, again, going away for 9 days and, all that entails. And it's like, we're too busy. Finally, we just put on the calendar and said, we don't care what's going on. And there was a lot of stuff going on. We were right in the middle of our GMOs revealed launch, and we still went. And then we got back for 4 days, then went to Israel for 2 weeks. So you talk about pendulum swing. I tell people it's like going from Sodom and Gomorrah to the Holy Land, which, it really was. But
it was that dramatic.
Well, both are absolutely life transformative experiences. I mean, in Israel, I'm going back and taking my family for at least a month to stay there because it is so profound and it reaches so far back into the roots of what it means to be alive, especially in the Western world. And we were working on a project there. I was out there with a crew of 12, traveling the whole country, private tour guide, et cetera, on this project that we're doing.
Documentary.
What's that?
That's the Christ Revealed documentary that
Christ Revealed,
right.
Yeah. It's life altering. As a matter of fact, that will launch if anybody cares on November 7th. It's free. But we have a whole 9 episodes, and we shot most of it out in Israel. It's just a breathtaking, epic journey. But Burning Man is the same way. So you might say, what do these two things have in common? What they have in common is that I have a philosophy around new perspective, meaning if you want to continue to shift and to grow and to expand, you need new perspective. You got to see new things. You got to experience new things, which means in your office, you should be changing things at least on a monthly basis. Change up colors in rooms, change up where furniture is, change up what's on the walls, change up the conversation. You got to create new perspective on an ongoing basis. Burning Man was so far out, there is no reference point for it. If you could imagine, you're like on the surface of the moon. There's only white dust everywhere. So as far as the eye can see in every direction, you're looking at just flat white dust everywhere. Nothing can live there. There's not a bug. There's not a weed. And if you start to imagine this place is completely vacant, and then all of a sudden, all at once, 70,000 people show up and build a city there. And there's just no reference point for it. The people who I went with have been there 10 times. They explained it perfectly.
Who did you go with?
Say again?
Who did you go with?
So it was called the House of Sandwich, which is the art car that was built by the guy who founded that camp, which is a guy named Mike Klein. Friend of mine who's a partner in some of my businesses. He's the CEO of a company called Tech Guys Who Get Marketing. And so he's been trying to get us out there. We finally went. And there's a bunch of other very, very cool people in the camp that we were with. But I ran into, there's some chiropractors there I ran into. There's, it is a diverse population, and it is so far out of any context that you can possibly imagine. There's no reference point in any other thing you can do on the planet. That's my experience of it. But it's so radically different, and living in it, it just blows your mind on an ongoing basis. Number one, what human beings are capable of. Number two, what it's like to be in an environment where one of the core values is radical self-reliance, but at the same time, everybody's there giving away things, so much abundance. Don't take any money. You can't spend money on anything there. There's no commerce. It's all people getting together in a kind of communal way, but self-reliance and sharing in extraordinary ways. But there's these art installations that are everywhere that are mind-boggling. And at daytime, it's hot, it's extreme, there's all this dust, but there's all this stuff going on. There's talks on philosophy, there's yoga, there's all these really, all over, there's activities, thousands of them going on constantly, or you're just laying back and walking around taking it all in. You got to have goggles around your neck and a mask, because at any moment a dust storm can kick up and you got to cover your eyes and your face. It's great. It's Mad Max, right? But then, and they have a Thunderdome there where they're doing Mad Max stuff. But then at
Was there any
night,
chiropractic, like say, you say we're doing yoga? Was there an area where everybody was doing chiropractic?
no, but we're going to create that. I was adjusting. I brought a table,
Right.
and I was adjusting tons of people. It was amazing. But I think there should be a full camp chiropractic,
Right,
basically,
right,
which is
right,
what we're
right.
going to evolve to, because it's a huge service that they need there, that these people be
And all you
dialed
need is
into.
this right here.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what was awesome. You just show up. These had a nice table, ready to rock and roll. Next to me when I'm adjusting, somebody's giving out vodka and bacon shots. I mean, there's so many crazy things you can't
Vodka
imagine.
and bacon shots.
Yeah, vodka with bacon.
Oh, sounds great.
And then they've got peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I mean, it defies imagination. At night, that whole playa, which is the big open space, lights up in Technicolor. They've got huge, big, like moving art installations that are these huge tractor trailers that they built, these huge, like $1 million, $2 million things. No corporate sponsorship, all private money. But there's sound systems that would fill Madison Square Garden, no problem. Laser light shows, and people just out there dancing and doing it. It's a crazy, crazy
Is there
environment.
live music as well, or what?
Say again?
Is there live music?
Oh yeah, they got live music. They've got EDM going on. There's every imaginable thing that is there. All different times a day, 24 hours a day. But the point I think is like, first of all, obviously Burning Man, I'm kind of pumped up about it. It was an amazing, like I said, it's just so out of context experience that it stretched my imagination as to what's possible.
And your
The
perception.
second thing, say again.
And your perceptions.
And my perception. And the second thing is exactly that, is that I think anybody who's seriously in the pursuit of growth and success has to do things that will change their perspective, that will let them see new and different things, that will stimulate their imagination. I came back there so creatively on fire with so many ideas that I'm still writing them down and buzzing on them.
Like you and I need any more ideas, right, to do?
Yeah. Well, what happens is that it's not only saying we have enough ideas, we need new ones, but they're also new perspectives on existing ideas, on things like you would come back and think you'd have a bunch of new things for Cal Jam, for example, that would be breakthrough ideas that you otherwise would never happen. But there's a point here, if I'm allowed to plug Cal Jam, is that to me is what Cal Jam represents. It's an environment for chiropractors and others that changes your perspective and your context, where the sparks start flying in your head. If you're seeing the same office, you drive down the same road every day, you park in the same parking space every day, you walk in the same door every day, you see the same shit every day, you got the same music playing through the place every day, you see the same faces that your staff is. It is like Groundhog Day every single day.
Right.
That is death to creativity. It doesn't mean that you're not supposed to do that. You have to have your rhythms and rituals that you're applying. But if you're looking to upgrade, to transform, to transcend, you got to get out of there and go to a place that stimulates. Cal Jam stimulates. It stimulates like none other, if I can say. It's a completely creative environment. Not an academic environment, although academic things happen there. It's not just a how-to environment, although you're going to learn how to do a lot of things there. It is a creative environment. That's the music, that's the vibe, that's the interaction. It stimulates creativity, and creation is the foundational concept of the universe. The universe comes into creation. Health and adjustment, creation. It's all about creation. So you have to be a creative force. This is what Cal Jam brings.
So let me ask the question that probably our viewers or listeners, and myself, how much of Burning Man has to do with psychedelics or any other type of mind-altering chemistry? I like to ask questions most people wouldn't ask, as you probably know.
Yeah, of course. No, and I think it's probably known as, a big druggy festival, but the answer is that's not what it's all about. Reality is being there without any drugs is its own trip. It was for me. I mean, being in that environment and looking around, I felt like I was walking in an acid trip the whole time without any drugs. I feel like I'm walking around and I'm saying, this is like I'm in some altered state here. I'm in an altered universe here. So are there people there doing drugs? Sure. Are there people drinking there? Sure. But are there a lot of people who are high on life in essence and just immersed in the experience? There's no such thing as a drug that anybody can create that your brain's not capable of creating.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have receptors for it, right?
Right.
So you stimulate the right things creatively, and you'll have those flashes and those inspirations without the drugs because you put yourself in an environment for it. So the answer is yes. Certainly, a lot of people are taking drugs, but they are down the street over here too. You know what I'm saying?
To me, like drugs kind of has this like negative taboo kind of connotation. I mean, I don't really sometimes see whether it's mushrooms or it's even cannabis as those being negative experiences that a person can have while they're on this planet. Like you said, it changes perspective. It opens your mind to different avenues to create higher levels of creativity. And again, we've been raised in this Catholic puritanical society that if you do anything to enhance your life experience, that's not to be. I mean, I'm not advocating drug usage, but I'm also not advocating that we live our lives. I mean, to me, I look at people that whether they eat sugar or or whatever it is, we all have something in our closet, whether those are positive or negative things that push us to really experience life at a different level. And again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's one of the things that I've really thought Burning Man was about. And again, I'm not,
It's definitely a part of the culture there for sure. But I want people to understand, there's not like this everybody, they talk about making it your own burn. It's, whatever's right for you. And I'm with you. And in essence, I think that the idea of recreational drug usage, and in many cases it's not even recreational, makes a whole lot more sense than medicinal, uses, for sure. And these plant medicines have been around for a very long time. It's not like this is some new thing that has been a cancer on society, from the 60s or something. What I would recommend, which I think gives great context, because what you're asking is a moral question, and that becomes a whole philosophical discussion. But I'll recommend, if you haven't read this book, you have to. It's called Stealing Fire, and the whole idea of stealing fire is it goes through the absolute deep, several thousand-year-old history of the creation of altered states for the purposes of human breakthrough and epiphany. And drugs is just one way. You can, like you said, you use mushrooms, LSD, etc.
Like you said, let's call it plant chemicals. I mean, to me, drugs has that negative. I mean, I don't even want to associate myself with drugs. I look at it as God created plants for us to not only use for health, but also to open our minds and to see reality and take off the blinders and again, open your mind and open your heart even as well. I mean, you know what I'm talking about because we've been down there. And that's one of the things I like about getting older. It's like I don't have a problem talking about this stuff. Because we're gonna get judged about what we say or what we don't say anyway. So let's just have a heart to heart and talk about it. So drugs to me, I don't like that word. I think it's just plant chemistry is what it would be. And again, God put it here for a reason. And that's why I'm a big proponent for the whole cannabis movement as far as bringing that to the chiropractic profession and getting people to understand the truth and not the negative stigma that's not only been painted about chiropractic, about a lot of other medicinal plants that we have. And again, medicinal plants, another word I don't like is medicinal. It's just plants, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because when you say drugs, people just like immediately are going to turn off, as I would too. But I look at drugs as something that's made in a chemistry lab out of petrochemicals or whatever, and they have negative side effects. I don't look at plants as having that same reaction in the body.
And I think that ultimately, and this is where I think Stealing Fire was really interesting. Yeah, they talk about prayer, meditation, plant usage, varying things to create flow states. that the idea or the orientation of perspective shift, and they write a lot about Burning Man in this book, because it's such a shift of perspective. Yeah, I mean, the founders of Google are there, Elon Musk is there. There's, the people who are doing the biggest things in the world go to Burning Man, and they go there for the purpose of shifting their context and unleashing creativity. And yes, there's many vehicles to do that, and I'm with you, I don't have a condemnative attitude. I think I might have just made a word up.
You did, and I like. I do that all the time, dude.
Yeah, I don't condemn people who want to engage in a rational, if you will, usage of plants to achieve states in their life that are positive. And I'm not talking about just whimsically saying I want to get high. I'm talking about literally getting to an altered state so that you can create breakthrough and epiphany, and that's one way. Meditation, as I said, I believe does that. Deep prayer and connection, I believe, does that. So I think and going to Cal Jam and immersing there does it. There's many vehicles, but you say what's the get to? And to me, the get to is shift your perspective. Have new outlook. Don't have 1 year of experience 20 times. Build on 20 years of experience, 30 years of experience, and keep exploring and keep yourself relevant in the sense of saying that you're not just stale and old and saying the same old things for 20 years. Increase your capacity for a better vision and more compassion and all those things that come from the things that we're talking about.
So you've got the vaccines revealed, shifting gears again, but that was great, and I wanted to get that out and ask that question because.
And we did with vaccines revealed is that we did an updated segment with you that's going to be in the next release. So thank you for that. You were awesome, and I think hopefully Bo got a hold of you for the next webcast. We want to hold you. We want to have you on that webcast. That audience is still building, and it's becoming more important. You probably everybody's heard about the mother who went to jail in Michigan because she wouldn't vaccinate her kid. It's getting really ugly. And to me, that just ups the fight. It's like we're not backing down. We're going to up the ante here.
We're actually pouring the gas on right now.
That's right.
And what I really like is that there's a lot of people pouring the gas on. It's not just you and me, and which it gives me a little bit more security in that I'm not the only one sticking my head and neck out. You know what I'm saying? And it's refreshing that finally what we know as truth is coming to a precipice where actually the world's going to see that we were always right. And it's not about being right or wrong. It's about saving these kids and ultimately saving us because, like I've said from the stage, it's not about this whole vaccine movement about mandatory vaccines was never about the kids. I mean, we got 97% of the people. It's about getting people used to being mandated to drug up. Now, those are drugs to me. And they're coming after us next.
These malevolent bastards, are starting to lose the grip, which now desperation starts to occur when, the compulsion to force people to do this becomes more amplified. They start pushing people in jail. Tells me they feel their grip is loosening.
Oh, they're losing it.
The surge of what's happening, and I'm very proud of Vaccines Revealed because I think it really helped to spike the public conversation around this and create a lot of awareness. I think the videos have over 1 million views now. That's a lot of views for people who become aware. Right. And especially what's going on in Australia, which is another really nuclear place for this particular argument. It comes down to the moral issue.
What is going on down there? What is the deal?
The deal is that that there's, and I look at this as literally a vile evil, is that the idea of parental rights and individual rights has become subservient to what they call science. It's a scientism. It's the new religion, and it's an evil religion because they're saying if we believe that our version of science says that this is the moral way for human beings to act, we will take rights away from individuals, from parents, and force them to act against their conscience, against their will to do something because our religion, scientism, says it's so. And the mantra that they use is the same mantra that Mao used, that Stalin used, that Hitler would use, that all the fascists would use. The mantra is the greater good.
Right.
There's an evil here. We will sacrifice individuals, Pol Pot, all the people who massively murdered in this world, in the tens of millions of people, that the same foundational philosophy, which comes from the Communist Manifesto, which basically says that the rights of individuals is subjugated to the general good, or basically the collective, as they might call it. That the greater good is more important than individual rights. And now what's going on, and this is the new evil that's emerging, is that science, which is really scientism, a blind faith, attachment to the current flawed scientific methods that are incomplete, that can't answer the questions of life, that can't talk about, that don't understand life, don't understand development, don't understand consciousness, have no answers. There's no unified theory of everything. It's all a bunch of pieces. But the skeptics get a hold of it. They're adhered to their intellectually lazy atheism, and the translation is that we're going to take our God, science, we're going to force it on people for the greater good, and we will sacrifice kids and parents to do it. That's what's going on. I mean, if you really want to name it, that's what's going on.
You could go deeper than that, too.
Level. Say again?
You could go even deeper than that if you wanted to. I mean,
I'm giving the headlines, but
right.
That's the foundation. So that's the foundation of it, and there's got to be power back to people. It cannot be tolerated. Which the GMO thing, another geoengineering thing. That's why we did. I mean, this year, vaccines and GMOs. I mean, we're taking on a lot. And we decided it's so dark. That's why we decided we want to do something inspirational, which is why we're doing Christ Revealed, saying, hey, let's get some light in the world a little bit. Because,
Good.
Anyway, but I appreciate your participation in helping and appearing, in taking a stand on vaccines the way you do, and appearing. And as we just recently found out, I was texting Bobby Kennedy Jr., who talk about guys who put their whole life and reputation on the line for taking a stand on the cause.
Like he said, it was
what?
He said it was like career suicide.
Yeah, he said it's bad for his career, but he doesn't care. It's true.
Right.
So he'll be back at Cal Jam this year, which I'm really excited to see him again. Last year, I thought he brought the house down. He was awesome.
Yeah, he was amazing, dude. Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up. I know you got stuff to do. I got a shitload of stuff to do. And maybe we can come back and revisit this conversation again in the future before Cal Jam. You also got to pick a song so we can get that going. But
yeah, you can see I got my strap back there. I'm working on a few of them.
I know.
So So you'll tell me what the themes are. We'll pick some songs.
Well, we're going a little heavier this year.
What are we doing?
You tell me. You're going to pick the song that you want to do.
So heavier meaning heavier metal, like.
Well, we're doing like some Kiss. We're doing Twisted Sister. We're doing Green Day. We're doing Black Sabbath. What else are we doing? We're doing some AC/DC. It's the High Voltage tour, if that tells you anything.
I love high voltage, which means that's high energy, man, high vibration.
Right.
So here's
one of the things I've learned as I've gotten older too. You're never going to make everybody happy all the time, so you might as well make yourself happy. You know what I'm saying? It's either you're gonna piss off these people or piss off those people. So just do whatever you want to do. It's like
Think through the logic of that. Does anybody really believe that you can make other people happy by making yourself miserable?
Exactly.
I mean,
So I'm gonna play what I want to play this year.
Yeah, exactly. There's no logic there. So the only chance you have to make anybody else happy is making yourself happy. That's the only chance you have.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I'm on stage smiling, having a friggin' great time, I think everybody else will have a good time. I mean, of course, there's gonna be people that don't like the music. It's too testosterone driven or whatever. It's like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. It's like, if you don't like it, don't come. Stay home and pout about it, or else start your own gig. Yeah,
that's right. And there's a lesson in that for themselves, saying, maybe I ought to take a look at myself. Am I the person who always likes to go and complain and find things wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
And that probably means I'm watching too much news.
And I don't know how people do that, dude.
It's, I mean, you know,
that's like the worst drug on the planet right there, is just all that negative friggin' input from just brainwashing from Big Brother.
Billy, I got it. You know, I'll tell you, and I know we're trying to wrap up here, but I will tell you, there is zero doubt in my mind that these people have mastered the art of creating addiction through, you know, sensationalism, and that the news is packaged. The 24 hours news cycle is packaged to make it like crack, like you just feel nervous wanting to go watch it. I was just in Israel, and I had a whole view of Israel, the safety of Israel, etc. And, you know, because of what I was seeing on the news about Israel, I get there and I'm seeing 7, 8-year-old kids walking around Jerusalem unaccompanied by adults. I'm seeing synagogues, I'm seeing mosques, I'm seeing churches, you know, all around me. And I'm looking for this powder keg that doesn't exist.
Right.
Now, does that mean that there aren't sometimes events in Israel, terrorist events that happen like anywhere in the world? Yeah, but when you look at the actual crime data and statistics, it's safer to be there than just about any, you know, U.S. city.
Right.
That's why I said I'm going back with my kids now, because there's so much to soak in spiritually over there that's just so amazing. But I will say that and historically. But here's what I learned. There's more international reporters in Israel than any other city in the world. They have to come up with a product to serve up. So they're gonna try to make big things out of little things all the time.
Right.
So listen, I do turn on the news and watch. Why? Not very, for limited pieces, because I do need to know what's going on in the world, but I have to make sure that I don't get sucked in. I'm just looking long enough to see, is there anything like of consequence I need to know about? You know, did a mom go to jail for vaccines? I want to know about that, so I'll look for that kind of story. But I'm not going to get brought into all this rhetoric with these crazy people that are just shouting.
Last question. You going to do the helicopter trip or what? You got to let me know soon. I will
let you know soon. Right now, that period, I'm not 100% sure I can make it work. I'm working with Lori to try to make it work. It would be life-changing for my son, so I want to go do it for sure.
Yeah, cool. All right, because I know if you were on board, it would be easier for me to get more chiropractors on board. So, and Brad's pretty committed. He's bringing his son. So,
awesome, yeah. Awesome. Well, listen, any chance I get to hang out with you, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I guarantee you'll have a good time.
All right, then you'll come to Burning Man in August.
We could call this Snowing Man or something up there.
It's like snow out there. It's all white powder, man. It's all dust.
All right, brother. I'm going to sign off. Love you so much. Love you, Lori, and your family, and thank you for being so involved with Cal. You've been there since the beginning, so I want to let you know I love you, man. And
I love you too, and love you too. Love what you're doing, and anybody who's watching this, man, you got to show up. Just please show up. I mean, you're living life, and then one day your life is over. What are you going to do? Sit around and do nothing? Get in the game. Have some fun.
They're going to watch football, dude. They're going to watch other people.
And look at the controversy they make out of that, right? Anything you can do to make controversy.
I could understand if you're like at a rock concert. That's cool, but watching people tackle each other, I'm sorry. All right, signing off. Love you before this goes down the road.
Love you too, man. Take care.
Rock and roll.
This is the greatest chiropractic event on the planet.
First impressions are everything, and when you walk in, you see the crowd, you see the stage set up, you hear the band.
The camaraderie was incredible, impressive, and I really felt like I was connected with my community.
Incredible. I've been to 9 out of 10 Cal Jams. The energy was through the roof, the most electric Cal Jam I've ever been to.